Hello everyone and welcome to a video on Java programming. This is CIT 111 spring of 2018 week 3 class that we wrote a Java program, a basic pay program. As you see, I'm using a Mac, so if you're using a Windows it'll look a little bit different. I'm going to go ahead and click new file, new project. Now if you don't have that, just look for Java project somewhere. I'm going to call this pay. I'm going to make sure that I have Java SE 1.8 selected, and I am going to go ahead and hit finish. Alright, so now I have a project here. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go down to source. That's the location where all the source code is located. I'm going to create a package. A package separates your source code into separate units in this example. So I will call this, you could call it anything you want to. I'll just call it my first app, location, and hit finish. All right, great. So our package is created. Now I need to put code in there. So I need to right click on it, do new class. So what am I going to call this class? I'm going to call it pay. Now it tells you right here, the package name is discouraged by convention. Package name usually starts with a lowercase. Well, we're talking about the class name. I'm going to do a lowercase. Now, the thing is, I'm also going to choose public static void. This is so I don't have to type extra stuff out and hit finish. It's usually a lot quicker than that. That was pretty slow. All right, now we're rolling here. Let me minimize some screens here so we have more screen. Great. And minimize that guy. Awesome. All right, so I have this public class. I'm going to erase this right here. So hopefully you can see this. Let's see here. Love to make it bigger, but all right. So hopefully, like I said, let me pause this and see if I can make this bigger. All right. So hopefully I've made it a little bit bigger. I changed it. Let's just make it maybe a little bit bigger than that. I made it a 14. So let's try at least 18. That way you can at least see what the heck I'm doing here. All right. Okay, perfect. All right, excellent. All right, excellent. All right, so now we have this. Now we need to, we're going to create a class. So we're going to create a scanner class that allows something to input. So I'm going to show you, we're not going to create it right away. Normally, you come up here and create it right away, but we're going to just start like this and go from there. All right, so first thing I'm going to do is do comments here. These are comments. I'm going to say create a scanner class, scanner object, to read from the keyboard. Okay, so we're going to read from the keyboard. We're going to do scanner keyboard. You could call this keyboard anything you want to, so it doesn't have to be that. I'll show you in a minute. Equals new keyboard, new scanner. That's the name of the class. Make it a system.in. So I'm going to show you a couple things here. First of all, when you're putting this up, this system.in is the parameter, so it has to be uppercase. Now, if I do a lowercase here, remember what I talked about, case sensitive? It doesn't recognize what that is. So we want to make sure it's an uppercase. It also doesn't recognize the scanner class. So as you notice when I hover over it, it asks me if I want to import, change, etc. So I'm going to import it because that's what we need. We need that library. So this right here is library from the framework. That allows us to use that function. So you notice I call it keyboard. Let's say I want to call it Jeffrey. Does it matter if I call it Jeffrey? Not at all. You could call it whatever you want to call it. We'll keep it keyboard, make it simple. All right, excellent. So we're going to go down and we're gonna do some declarations. So declarations, I will say declare variable types. That's basically what we're going to do. So we're going to use variables that we're going to use. We're going to do a double, which is the decimal aspect of it, and we're going to call it hours. So this is going to be the number of hours worked. All right, so now we need to declare another data type called double rate. Once again, in this one, I'm going to call it the hourly pay rate. And then this one right here is going to be double pay. And this one's going to be the gross pay. This is all about what data types you need in your program. So now the next thing I'm going to do is display prompts and get input. So what we're going to do here is, we talked about in class how to hard code something. So let's say that I wanted to say, hey, you know what, hours equals, let's say 20 times rate of, we'll say 8.95, right? And then if I want to do system.out.println and do hours, then what this is going to do right here is it's going to display hours equals 20 times 8.95. Yes, we can do that, but we don't want to accomplish that. We want to have it where you have an input come up and you could change it anytime. So that way someone can enter whatever they want to enter in. So what we're going to do here is we're going to type in system.out.print how many hours did you work? Okay, so then we're going to do that. Now that we did the print, we need to have it go to the next line. Okay, but we need to detect. We asked a question, but we need to detect what the user inputs. So what we're going to do here is we're going to say, okay, let's do hours equals keyboard dot. We're going to do next double. Next double, what that means is it means it's going to be the next double. So if you over it, it scans, it says it's the next token of input is the double. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up the next token, the next parameter that we input. And we put how many hours did we work. We could say what was our rate, and then we would put rate here. So it depends on what variable type you want to capture in this case. So right here, we want to capture how many hours. So we set up this variable type called hours. Let's say that we call this something else and we called it my hours, okay? Then all you would do is you come down here and say, oh, okay, you know what, let's do my hours. It's all about the whatever you use in your example. So I'll put hours again. Perfect. Now, in programming, it's using common sense sometimes. You don't want to type everything out. So I know I'm going to use this line again, both these lines, but I'm going to change it around. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy both lines, all right? I'm going to paste it below. Now the only thing I'm going to do is change the wording around. This time I'm going to say, let's see, how much are you paid per hour, okay? Now what we're going to do is change this around and use the rate this time. So you see what I'm doing? I'm just using a different variable type this time. Nothing crazy, we're just grabbing that information and we're just using something different, that's all. Alright, so now we have that. We should be good. So next thing that we need to do is we need to go down and do algorithms, okay? Algorithm for performing the calculation, okay? So that will be a conditional thing that we haven't really talked about yet. Well, actually, we haven't talked about it at all. So we're going to say if hours is less than or equal 40. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to do equals or less than 40 because it's not going to know what that means. So it's less than or equal 40. Okay, hit enter there, and then you're going to have it do something or else something. So we're going to say, hey, if I worked at least 40 hours or less, I'm going to say, you know what, my pay equals the hours that I entered in times the rate. That's what my value is. Let's say that I worked 45 hours. Then I'm going to give it and say, you know what, in this case, I'm going to say pay equals, in parentheses there, well, actually, not brackets, I meant parentheses. I said parentheses, I did brackets. So we're going to say hours minus 40, right? I said 40, I wrote 50, awesome. And we're going to say times 1.5 times, and this is something I come out because it's double time and a half, basically, is what I'm doing here, plus 40 times rate. Okay, so this is our calculation. Now you could do any calculation. So right now, let's recap what we've accomplished here. We created the class scanner. As you notice, it's called scanner. So let's say that we had a class called Jeffrey. then this would be Jeffrey, and this would be Jeffrey. We're creating a new object, so we're grabbing from that object. You know how like we have keyboard, we couldn't just use scanner. We have to come up with something. We declared our variables, we created our prompts, and now we're creating an algorithm. What's the last thing that we have to do is display the results on the screen. So display the results on the screen. All right, here we go. So now what we'll do is a system.out.println, and you can put you have earned, and then I'll put, you notice how I do the double quotes here because now this is a string, and now we need to add on a variable. So I'll do a plus to add something, and then I'll put pay. That's the name of my variable. And that's it. So let's go ahead up here and click run. It's going to ask me if I want to run it. Here's my console. Let me move it down here. How many hours did I work? I'm going to say I worked 39 hours. What do you get paid per hour? I'm going to say $34.50. Boom. It says I made that amount. So let's say I want to run it again. And I want to say I worked more hours. So like last week with school and working, I worked 66 hours that week. Really, for real. Well, I won't put how much I got paid, so I'll just make something up. Let's say I get paid $78 an hour. That's not true. And that's how much I made for a week. So hopefully you had an opportunity to run through this. So once again, here's your code. If you didn't get a chance to do it in class and you messed up or whatever, check it out again. If you have questions, shoot me an email. You know how to contact me. Thanks for listening and have a great day.